So the UFC pound for pound rankings have just been updated, and I just want to give a couple of thoughts on that. Firstly, how do you define pound for pound rankings? It could be by dominance, title defenses, whether you've got belts in different weight classes. It's all a matter of opinion at the end of the day. But they've got Jon Jones as number one. Now, Jon Jones, his record 26-1-1, 1 no contest, 1 loss, and 26 wins. And he's 22. He's got 22 fights in the UFC. I think that his loss from no contest was the rematch against DC. I count that as a win, so let's just say that's a win. Then he's got the fight against Matt Hamill, which he lost due to disqualification, illegal knee, which basically he would have won as well. Let's just act like he won. That's what I think. So let's just say he's 22-0 in the UFC. He's got 14 title defenses. He never actually lost his belt. He got stripped because of suspensions, because of the PEDs, but he never actually lost it. He's got about 14 title defenses if you're looking at it consecutively. Other than that, quite dominant. Good fight IQ, long reach. He's beat up big guys. DC was not a joke. DC was undefeated before he fought Jon Jones. Jon Jones beat him twice. It was a decision the first time, 5 rounds. Second time he finished him by a head kick knockout. And DC was not to be messed with. Double champ after that. So he's beat DC. He's beat a lot of other guys. He's dominated. He's defended his belt. And then obviously there's some questions about him. The PEDs. He got called for PEDs a couple times. Got a couple problems there. And since he's come off the PEDs, he's not been as dominant. People argue. His last fight against Dominic Reyes. People say it's a robbery. I thought it was a robbery. I thought he definitely lost that fight 3 rounds to 2. The couple takedowns at the end where Reyes just got up straight away. Jon Jones didn't really do anything much with them, and he pretty much got outstruck, chased down, hunted down, and I think Reyes got tired in the last couple rounds because he's not really used to the main events, but he won the first 3 easily, and it was definitely Reyes' fight. Before that, Jones fought Thiago Santos, who was a middleweight before, and it went to split decision. Jones won. I thought Jones won. I didn't think it was it was that close as people thought, but it was still close. The fight before that, Anthony Smith, the Jon Jones we used to know, he would have finished Anthony Smith. He wouldn't have gone to a 5-round decision with him. So that one there. Then the Alex Gustafsson win, that was good, but still But before that, DC win, and that was before he had the belt. When he was just before he got caught for the steroids, he beat DC, and then he got caught and he turned into a no contest. But since then, his last 4 fights, they haven't been the recent fights haven't been the dominancy. Is that a word? We haven't been as dominant as the old Jon Jones we used to see. So we don't know that. People are saying that. Now, do I think he still should be pound for pound number 1? Yes. Why? Because despite him, being on PEDs, he's still got the fight IQ. You don't get that from the PEDs. He's still outsmarted, outskilled these opponents, these high level opponents. DC, I know he out wrestled DC, and you don't know if he could have done that, without the juice on him. But still, he did quite well, and he's definitely up there with all those title defenses. And even though these last 4 fights, arguably, they weren't as dominant, and he didn't officially he won the fight, but people thought he lost the last fight against Reyes. Even though he's won these fights, and he's not won them as dominantly, he still won them. So he's still at the top against high level opponents. So I think that he should be number 1 pound for pound, but to secure his position there, so it's convincing and no one says anything about it, he needs to rematch Reyes. He needs to beat him convincingly. He needs to fight Santos, Blachowicz, or he could just rematch Reyes and then go up to heavyweight, fight the champion there, whether it's Stipe or Ngannou, and if he beats one of them guys, then there's no argument that he's pound for pound number 1. So I think I classify him as being 21-1 in the UFC octagon. He lost to Dominic Reyes once, and the rest of them I count him as wins. The disqualification against Matt Hamill and the DC no contest, I count them as wins. So 21-1 in the UFC octagon. He shouldn't be number 2 to Khabib. Some people say he's number 2 to Khabib, but Khabib's record before the UFC was much more padded. Khabib's only 12-0 in the UFC, only 2 title defenses. He's very dominant, yes, and he doesn't use the PEDs, but he's not got as many wins as Jon Jones in the UFC, and as many title defenses. So even after the PEDs, Jon Jones still defended his title 4 times, which is, more than Khabib has, regardless. So I think Jon Jones pound for pound number 1, but he needs to do a bit more to convince, the masses, because not everyone agrees with that.